Saludos a toda la afición de la lucha libre. Este que les habla es Michael Morales Torres, integrante del equipo de lucha libre online. Y tengo el honor de presentarles nuestro invitado en la tarde de hoy de Tennessee para el mundo. Sorry about your damn luck, Cowboy James Storm. Mr. Storm, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing muy bien.
How's weather in Tennessee? How are things during the COVID pandemic over there?
It's crazy here in the States. Where I live, it's pretty good. You know, we're just a bunch of simple people. We try to stay off the internet and worry about our own here. So,
yeah, just enjoying life. That's how it's supposed to be. So I wanted to talk about your pro wrestling career. You made your debut in 1997. You've been in this industry for a little bit over 23 years. That's an impressive streak. You signed at one point with WCW, and it wasn't after a few weeks ago that I discovered that. I didn't knew that. How was that experience for you in WCW?
It was fun. There was a lot of us that were going there around that time. It was myself, AJ Styles, Abyss, Chris Harris, Air Paris. There was a lot of us that was going at a time, and man, we were just having fun because they needed guys that knew how to bump. They needed guys to dress up like security guards and paramedics and stuff like that because the story that I hear is they had shoot security guards and stuff and they didn't know how to bump and one of them fell into Hogan's leg or something, and so at that point you couldn't hurt Hogan because he was their bread and butter, but so they contacted a promoter that I was working with here in Nashville, and he's like, I got guys. And so we started going to all these different WCW shows, and then we started working, on the Thunder shows and stuff like that. So, it was a lot of fun.
How was the backstage ambience in WCW? I had the opportunity to speak about it with Jeff Jarrett and Booker T. And at that point, they enjoyed working for WCW. But you entered at a different era, which was the 2000s. The last years of WCW. How can you describe the backstage ambience at that company in the moment?
When it was one of those things we were told when we go up there, stay to ourselves. Don't bother the other talent and all this stuff. But it was crazy though because you had guys like the Harris brothers and Booker T and stuff like that who are always cool with us. They see us. Walking by, they'd be like, "Hey, what's up, guys?" They didn't act like they were any better than anybody else. So that was really cool of those guys.
Awesome. You are currently you are holding the most quantity of tag team champions in Impact Wrestling in both titles: the NWA Tag Team Championships with 7 reigns and the TNA Tag Team Championships with 7 reigns. You've been on tag team division for a while in the company. But I have an interesting question for you. You were partnered with Wildcat Chris Harris for a while with America's Most Wanted. And after that, you were partnered with Bobby Roode and what we all loved, which was Beer Money Inc. At this point, 2020, looking back, which one was your favorite tag team partner and why, if you can choose among all the tag team partners you have so far, including Eli Drake?
I get asked that question so many times, and to me, it's kind of really hard to pick a favorite because they were, at different times. With Chris Harris, it was basically, 2 guys who relied on each other a lot because we were basically unknown guys trying to make a name for ourselves in the business. So we were scratching and clawing every chance we got. Whereas with Bobby, we were kind of more established, so we didn't really have to rely on each other anymore just to go out there. And so I think the pressure was kind of off me and Bobby as much as it was, on me and Chris. But me and Bobby, we just went out there and just, acted goofy and had fun.
Awesome. You were there for a while on Impact Wrestling. You held the World Heavyweight Championship at basically every title except for the X Division 1. Is that something you wanted to pursue at one point?
No, there ain't no way I get in the ring with those guys, because, it would have been a lot of fun, but, I always thought the X Division was the best when they did the motto, it's not about weight limits, it's about no limits, so you had all these different guys that can go in there and just, flat go, and it was insane. It was crazy, especially when the X Division first started, when you had guys like Jerry Lynn and Low Key AJ Styles, you know, and Christopher Daniels and all those guys. Man, it was unreal to watch those guys.
Awesome. I want to say something in Spanish to all our audience, even though this is going to have subtitles at this point. James Storm tiene toda su mercancía disponible en www.lascoloutlaw.com. El website va a aparecer aquí. Ahí tienen hoodies, tienen t-shirts, tienen camisas de gimnasio, tienen botellas de cerveza autografiadas, tienen fotos 8x10, tienen kettles, tienen toda la mercancía disponible en ese website www.lastcalloutlaw.com, y de igual manera tiene su Patreon donde pueden ver sus entrenamientos, sus rutinas de ejercicio, cómo estar tan fuerte como James Storm, pues siguiendo sus rutinas de ejercicio, y eso es en www.patreon.com/JamesStorm. Al igual que eso pueden seguirlo en sus redes sociales, Instagram y Twitter, como James Storm Brand, para toda la información que necesiten y estar al pendiente de todos los logros en su carrera. Mr. Storm, let's talk about your walking away from Impact Wrestling. You were there for a while, one of the Impact Originals or TNA at that point. Why did you take the decision of moving forward from Impact Wrestling, and how did you arrive to the NWA where you're currently one half of the tag team championships?
You know, it got to that point where, you know, I had been there for 15 years, and man, I was just, I don't know, like I just kind of wanted to do something different. You know, like I still loved Impact, like I still wish nothing but the best for Impact Wrestling, you know, but it was just my time just kind of to step away from Impact and just kind of do my own thing. And then, you know, you never know, you know, go back and be refreshed. And, you know, because at that time, like I didn't know really who was running the company. You know, you had Dixie, and then you had the Harris brothers, then, you know, you had Anthem out of Canada, you know, and then you had Billy Corgan. So it was just like, okay, I don't know who my boss is and who's running the company, you know, in the last 2 years I was there. And I actually wanted to leave before my last year was up, you know, because I just felt like they wasn't really doing anything with me. You know, like I was just kind of being put on the shelf, you know, and it was just, man, like I think I still had so much to give, even if it was just helping out the younger talent into getting better, and, you know, just kind of giving the rub to them, and, you know, having them learn how to wrestle on TV, because, you know, a lot of people, they can know how to wrestle, but to wrestle on TV is a, you know, totally different beast.
Yes, it is. And speaking of wrestling on TV, we saw your debut a few years ago on NXT. For Triple H, there were at that point a lot of guys that are currently on the main roster. How was that experience for you, and how was the backstage ambience on NXT? How did he receive James Storm as a veteran, in the backstage area? I mean, there were young guys that were veterans, but you were highly probably the most experienced guy at that point in that locker room.
Yeah, it was really cool, you know, to go down there, because, you know, everyone, you know, treated me with respect from the very top to the guy that's hasn't even made the NXT roster yet, you know, like the guys that were still training at the Performance Center. So, I mean, like they have a really good system there, and like the guys there are very, like I said, respectful of you know, the guys who came before them. And I mean, it was a lot of fun, you know, and also to see how they do things there. I mean, it was unreal to just to see the kind of stuff that they do at the Performance Center. And you know, and it's one of those things where Triple H held everyone accountable, you know, and I think that was what was kind of missing at Impact. You know, like guys would just go and do whatever, you know, do their own thing. And you know, with you know, NXT, it wasn't like that. You know, like they're like, this is the character we want you to be. Don't get off course. This is, you know, and I try to tell everybody, like, when you become a wrestler, you become a character that someone else has written. Like, you become part of a movie. You know, you're the actor. You're not the director. You're not the writer. So, you know, if you want to be that, then sign up for that. But, you know, you're the actor in the play. So go and you have to play this part that, you know, they have written for you. And, you know, WWE, like I said, they hold their guys accountable, and that's what needs to be done in professional wrestling.
Awesome. And speaking of WWE, you made some interesting facts you mentioned in Ryan Satin's interview a few days ago. And it's that you were supposed to make your debut after WrestleMania for WWE. And unfortunately, and sorry about your damn luck, but I need to say it that way, the pandemic, or as James Ellsworth calls it, the pandemic. So it happened, and it got changed Everyone
Yeah.
got changed. Did you got to sign a contract with WWE, and is that still valid at this point?
Yeah, I signed the contract and all that stuff, and I was just waiting to take the physical, and I was supposed to take it, a couple of days right before WrestleMania, and so, and then they had called me and just told me, hey, it's going to be put off just because of all the stuff going on. I completely understood, and then once I seen that they were making all these cuts, with all these different guys and stuff, like I just knew it was a matter of time before they just retract the contract, which, I mean, it's business. It's no big deal. That's how business goes, and I completely understood it. And I can't tell you, like, so many people have problems with this guy named Canyon Seaman. They always, some people talk bad about him, but like for me, this guy was nothing but professional, and he was also just like, man, like, I have bad news and I really hate to give it to you, and I was like, hey man, like it's no big deal. Like I understand it's business, and hopefully we can, do business again sometime in the future. So, I don't think it was any hard feelings at all. It's business, and it sucks because, I can sit here and say me, but in the whole scheme of things, it was a lot of people that, lost their jobs. Like a lot of people got cut loose. So, like I said, all I can do is just keep on keeping on, man, and doing my thing. And like I said, hopefully, another opportunity to come in the future.
And we really hope to see you in WWE or the company that.
So it's funny that, so many people like, because Ryan hit me up and he's just like, hey man, like, I heard from a little bird on a wire this right here. I'm like, how do you find this crap out? Like I had it hid for so long, like hardly anyone knew, because they wanted, and I wanted it to be like a big surprise because I knew like people would pop, and because I look at it like, you saw my debut when I went to NXT, like, they panned to like these two people in the crowd and they're just going absolutely crazy. Yeah. And the whole crowd was going crazy. So I was like, man, I can only imagine what the main roster would want, and it's just one of those things where I was just like, oh, what if, so, but, you can't live on what ifs. You just got to keep moving forward.
And speaking of what ifs, were you open at that point to make your return in WWE, but then at this point with Robert Roode as your tag team partner, and for what everyone wanted to see, Beer Money Inc.
It's one of those things where, I know a lot of guys, up there who would, who want to work with Beer Money, and the thing is, it's like no one owns that name, so I mean, if we wanted to use it, we could use that name, and it's just, and I'm sure that Bobby's the same way. Like, I don't want to go in and I don't want to step on anyone's toes. If he's doing something good and they got him in some main event picture, I'm happy for him, and I'm sure Bobby is the same way. Like either, if we're a tag team, we'll make it the best we can again, but, as singles, we like beating the crap out of each other as well. So we could, me and him could put on really good matches against each other, so, it's just one of those things like, if they wanted Beer Money, I'm sure both of us would do it. But if they wanted us singles, that's great too,
Awesome. And last but not least, the wrestling industry is going through some rough times at this point due to the pandemic. And this is complicated because thousands of people stop watching wrestling all around the world, not only USA, Japan, India, Canada, Puerto Rico, except for Mexico. Basically, every single place in the world has stopped watching wrestling, and this is why we have low viewerships in most of the shows compared to what it was maybe 20 years ago. What do you think the wrestling companies and the talent need to do in order to attract a bigger fan base and get back the audience, the crowd that they lose?
I was just talking to someone about this the other day, and to me, like, wrestling has changed so much in the last, even 2 years, and when I was coming up watching wrestling, you had, the main event guys, and then you had the middle card, and then you had the undercard, and I think wrestling has kind of gotten away from that. It's just like, it seems like everybody is the same. It's like on the same level, you know, and you know, with all the, you know, the politics and stuff like that, like I understand how they, you know, want to make everybody on the same level, but at the same time, it's hard to build someone when everyone is basically on the same level. And you know, when I grew up, it was like, you know, you had the Hogans and the you know, Undertaker and Ultimate Warriors and guys like that on top, and then you had the Bret Harts and Shawn Michaels and, you know, Mr. Perfect's right under them. So once Hogan and them left, then, you know, Bret and them would move up. And I was saying this the other day, is like, I don't think you know, X-Pac, Sean Waltman, or 1-2-3 Kid, I don't think it would have been that big of a deal if he was wrestling these days and beat Razor Ramon, you know, because back then Razor Ramon was up here, you know, and you had the 1-2-3 Kid up here. And it just made him, once he beat that big top tier guy. Take, for example, like a Brian Cage and a Marco Stunt, you know, and AEW. Like, I just think, you know, Brian Cage just being this killer, you know, and how big he is and athletic he is, you know, and then you have Marco Stunt. If you have them like basically on the same length, it doesn't matter really if Marco Stunt beats him. But, you know, if you keep building Cage as this killer, and then Marco Stunt comes along and accidentally slips on banana and beats Brian Cage somehow, then boom, like Marco Stunt is like this big star now. And I mean, I'm not saying that he's not a big star, but I'm just saying, you know, it would just help him out more, you know. And I just think it kind of, this wrestling is, I don't know, just kind of got off track a little bit.
Yeah, wrestling is complicated, man. I want to say something in Spanish one more time. A todos nuestros amigos, la mercancía de James Storm está disponible en www.loscalloutlaw.com. Nuevamente, hoodies, t-shirts, botellas de cerveza firmadas, fotos 8x10 autografiadas, el patreon.com/James Storm para todas sus rutinas de ejercicio y toda la información de último momento, al igual que Instagram y en Twitter como James Storm Brand. Mr. Storm, we thank you so much for your time. Always wishing you the best of luck. Ironic locks.
Yeah, where was you at 5 months ago?
No, but we really hope to see you either in WWE, AEW, or the company that makes you happy, because they're gonna be great. They should be grateful to have your talent. Any company that signs you at this point, they will have one of the most experienced veteran with the huge experience, with title runs, like a guy that can be basically in any position, mid-card, main events, tag team division, basically anywhere. So any company that signs you, trust me, they should be grateful to have you. And we're always wishing you the best of luck, man. And thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I really appreciate it. And, you know, my job these days is really just to kind of just help the new talent, you know, find themselves and learn the craft the right way, you know. So, but thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.